to eagle-eyed viewers, listeners, and voyeurs of all sorts, you may have realized over recent weeks, we've had some kind of lineup bumps and bruises here and there. Nate's been in and out or on the road. Seth's been in or out or on the road. And if you're watching right now, you see Nate broadcasting live from the owners' meetings in South Florida with some sort of plant behind him. I'm at home, of course, here in Kansas City, but it's just the two of us, just myself, Joshua Brisco, and Nate Taylor. I wrote this on Twitter earlier today as well, but as a lot of kids, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of a desire to keep moving forward. It's going to be me and Nate from now on here on Only Weird Games, as Seth Kaiser, his Thursday show ended up being his final show with us here on Only Weird Games. Nate, any it's a tough question to lob you, I guess, but any thoughts or anything you'd like to share with the audience as we spend a good chunk of today's show remembering everything Seth did for us here?
April Fools, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, Seth's not here now, and he might not be here on Thursday, but the odds are he'll be back at some point. The odds are we'll all be here on Thursday, but I mean, we can only take it one day at a time. I think Kyle Shanahan has helped us keep that in mind, and as occasionally reporters have to report, Nate, some things can happen as early as today. It's almost impossible for them to happen earlier than that. But this episode of Only Weird Games, we're live now, and Nate has been rubbing elbows with the rich and famous, getting the scoops and smelling like money. Nate, how's the debauchery?
Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, at some point I will show you the ceiling, because every single room in this place has a ceiling that is envious of most ceilings in America. Ladies and gentlemen, they did not pay me. I came here to do a job for you. I'm providing a service for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, man, if the breakers could come down on some of these rates right now, I tell you guys, I tell you so much. I would tell you so much if they came down on the rates. I asked, tongue in cheek, but I was just like, look, Clark, you got a discount code? Like anything you can do to like, I just want to come back here. We're not making decisions about the tush push. I would like to come back. This is an incredible location. I don't know what travesty had to happen prior to this building being erected in God knows however long. But man, the ocean, the palm trees, the ceilings, the food. Again, guys, this is the NFL's annual wedding reception without the wedding. And I don't know if this has been as newsy of a owners meetings as I've been around in the past, but the breakers, man, continues to just break it all funky. When you think you've seen just enough, my God, think about the ceilings when you're looking at cinder blocks in St. Joseph. Thank you, Nate Dogg. It's them cinder blocks ain't moving, and they're coming faster than I want to realize. So, ladies and gentlemen, my camera will not do this justice, okay? But let's all take a deep breath. Let's gather ourselves and let's see what these great Americans did of a certain era.
Nate is panning up to the wow, truly. What would the styling of that be, do you think? I would like to describe this to people, but I think it's beyond my pay grade.
We're looking at European-inspired art. And kids, let me tell you, this is sea level in this place. This is just a hallway. I'm in a hallway. There are rooms with chandeliers that I said, my God, the Titanic would be envious of this. Yes, it's very Victorian. This is not Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago,
similar aesthetic, nicer.
They wish they could be the breakers.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Wish. So again, guys, this is just a hallway. As I'm looking forward, this is not on camera. this is where everyone made the decision that, like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't vote on the tush push. Guys, I'm less than 100 feet from the room where they decided maybe we shouldn't do anything in regards to the tush push. And hey, maybe we should use Hawkeye. Congratulations. And maybe we should use, instant replay more often. So congratulations. They did something today, guys. But this is, again, sea level ceiling. Okay. If I could take you into some of these rooms that I was in last night with Serena bleeping Williams, I would show it to you, but I can't because I'm in a hallway where I can record this podcast without getting the breakers breaking me off.
How many chandeliers are in that hallway, Nate?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them. You want to see them? Boom.
Wow, you're right. I saw one. I was hoping for at least 2 or 3, but 6.
Guys, I want to tell you something. Just a mere hours ago, there were head coaches, general managers, team presidents, owners, and the commissioner himself in this hallway just mere hours ago. Now, everyone has shaken hands. Everyone has given lovely hugs. Everyone has smelled each other's perfume or cologne, and we are now going to go back to our respective places after making not that many votes that we probably should have made. But, that happens. And yeah, it's I love that Ross says maybe this should be the Chiefs' new locker room design.
That's what I'm thinking. I like that comment a lot. I think this is what they should be aiming for.
I think it's a little over budget, just a little over budget. So
Tucker saying in the chat, like, it looks fake. Like, it does. It looks like a fake background. It looks like a green screen. He's totally right. It is cartoonish. You are currently broadcasting live from like the home of a very rich fictional dog.
Let's just say it starts with a B and it ends in air.
Yes. Yes. You look like you're living in the home of a bear. That's exactly what I was thinking.
It starts with a B and ends with air. So
funny you should say that, Nate. No, we'll get there later. Go ahead.
So one of the last things, guys, I think we've done this before in past episodes, but I'm going to just sprinkle in facts, scenes that I've seen over the last 2 days. Here's the first one, ladies and gentlemen. I know the style of how Dan Campbell eats ice cream.
Okay, can I guess?
Yes, of course you can.
All in one.
Dan Campbell, very tall man. Dan Campbell, my God, he played in a different era of football.
I think he eats it like a pelican.
He does spoon opposite.
Okay, not a cone. So we're going
not a cone.
Dish here. Okay, all right. I was imagining him eating a cone like a pelican.
And he eats it backwards.
Yeah, sure. That's a veteran move.
He eats it backwards of the spoon. And
but a bit dainty for Dan Campbell. Like, just, yes, I mean, I respect that wholeheartedly. Again, very classic move.
But I was transfixed watching this man eat ice cream next to his wife. Just.
Yeah, I mean, he's all about the mechanics. He's a technician.
So let's go. Let's start. I mean,
we've started, baby. We're on notes from the league meetings, and I'll tell you what, I haven't seen any. Well, that's not entirely true. We have a dog with no eyes who are dog sitting right now, and so I've seen that these last couple of days. That has been very interesting, as is the glare that's coming in my office right now. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, facing an open set of curtains, and my visuals are worse than Nate's right now, in the middle of all of the things he just described. So let's go with some of the big picture of what did get done over these last couple of days. Because you're right, man. I think this was a little bit of a less newsy one than usual. You got a little bit of cementing some of the kickoff things and a little tweak there. Between overtime rules, touchbacks, and replay assist.
Correct.
Where do you want to start among sort of the things that did get passed?
Yeah, the biggest thing that matters is both teams will now have the chance to possess the ball in overtime of any NFL game of consequence. And that is important, considering that, the margins of victories in these games are slim. And that obviously has playoff implication factors. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch tennis, and boy, do I watch tennis, and obviously shout out to the Miami Open. Hawkeye being introduced in football is comically hilarious.
Why is that, Nate?
Because most of the time Hawkeye is correct in tennis, but if you ask Elena Ostapenko, sometimes it's wrong. And there's been multiple examples where the technology actually doesn't improve accuracy of whether the ball is in or out. Yes, they do not use Hawkeye at the French Open. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that last year in the men's championship between Carlos Alcaraz and Sasha Zverev, there was a second serve that was clearly out on camera in front of the entire world. My man got up off the umpire chair, came down, looked at the mark. It's in. It's an ace. And for about 20 minutes, Sasha Zverev lost his mind because he should. Because I should have won that point, and that's an important point. And now I'm losing, and now I don't have the trophy in my hands. And don't we have technology? So look, Hawkeye being introduced is going to be fascinating because I think it's the thing that people won't realize until it's too late. Because one of the best things that I've seen on play football on clay. Yes, it would be incredible. Can you imagine the uniforms? Oh, reminds me of 1990s football where they played on baseball fields.
It's the best. It's still, I know it's unhealthy, I know it's ridiculous, I know it's insane, but
yes.
My ideal sports aesthetic is still football played on a baseball field.
Yes,
it's the best. NFL Street 2, the Sportsplex, it's the best field there.
It's incredible.
I need to go watch Jamal Charles run on that field in Oakland a little bit while you talk, just to make sure I keep my energy level up.
He scored 5 touchdowns, guys. 5 of them things. Now, something that occurred to me that is very funny is that we will no longer have the index cards, guys. We will no longer have Mr. Hockley doing this. We're not gonna have.
What happened to the game I love?
We're not gonna have this moment anymore where we're using index cards to decide if it's a first down or not. So again, they're gonna try to match the camera work with the Hawkeye technology to see if it is an actual touchdown, if it's an actual first down, if it's an actual, touchback in a fumble situation. It's going to be incredible. And then lastly, I mean, it's fine. It's fine, Josh. It's fine. It became so public how much some teams hate the tush push that the league, I think, felt and realized today, based on how provocative it is, based on how, based on the competitive advantage, disadvantage, wherever you come from, that it's streets too hot right now. The streets in this place are too hot right now to make a vote. And of course, they didn't have enough votes today. I mean, I'm not the first one to report this or, to say it, but they didn't have enough votes to ban or severely alter the tush push. Right. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles have been in the Super Bowl the last couple of years. They are the Super Bowl reigning champions. They run that play better than anybody. But for this amount of fellas who have a lot of control over how this game and how this sport is moving forward, literally said the block's too hot.
I think that's right, though. Here's my rat-a-tat-tat, Nate. Here's the stuff that makes sense to me and that kind of frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
One, I totally understand why the overtime rules adjusted throughout the playoffs, because when you're in the postseason,
yes,
every blade of grass matters, and it feels bad to have your season end without getting to touch the football. I understand that. I would also suggest there were 60 minutes that just happened where you knew the exact rules of how to win the game in those 60 minutes.
Yep.
I think this was a Sam Monson take I saw on Twitter that I'm stealing now, but you could almost radicalize me to congratulations. NFL regular season football games are 60 minutes long, period. You win, you lose, or you tie.
That's right.
And because we have tiebreakers, we have these games and records that pan out over the course of the entire regular season. So whatever. honestly, I'm just not that worked up about it either way. I wouldn't be that worked up about the rules not changing. I wouldn't be that worked up about them going to no more overtime in the regular season. Player safety, player safety, the thing we care about until the 18th game gets here.
Oh yeah. By the way, I just took my glasses off for the audience that is listening via podcast. I took my glasses off because there's just so much wealth in my eyes. That so much wealth that
oh, sorry, it's got wealth in my eye. Oh, sorry about that.
Just got money just all up in here.
Liquidity in my eyeball. That's crazy.
Everybody in the league now acknowledges that a version of what Joe Burrow said is likely to happen. 18 games, 2 bye weeks, President's Day. Can you take us from Labor Day to President's Day? The league's been very non-committal as to like when those negotiations will happen. I don't think anytime soon necessarily, but they're probably going to alter the collective bargaining agreement between ownership and the Players Association. 18 games, player safety. Also, every coach who hated the tush push or who doesn't like the tush push, ladies and gentlemen, basically said player safety.
Yeah.
Even though we don't have enough data, and this is what Roger Goodell said today, because I was at the press conference, and it makes some sense. There's not enough data to say this play is actually more conducive to injuries than, say, an average NFL play.
Derrick Henry up the gut for 1 yard.
Or Derrick Henry just a face full of...
Yeah, Derrick Henry ripping your face off is easy at the 50. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
there's that quote from Alan Sills about there's a potential for this play to potentially have an issue with player safety. Like every other American football play. I'm not here being like, bring back jacked up. I want to see guys die on the 50. Like the kickoff rules changing, I think is good. I would like less stretchers and CTE and all of that. But at least I have the courage of my convictions to acknowledge that football is a violent sport and an 18th game is not safe.
Yeah. So D-Mac's right here. If we could put that comment up, the fact that Andy Reid, who is, Switzerland, as we might say, completely diplomatic, says that, look, he loves the play because it's an advantage. It's a short yardage situation play. Like he loves the idea of having multiple different styles of play for different positions, different circumstances, scenarios of the game. He also said player safety.
So there's that. I'm glad the tush push didn't get banned, I think, because, again, it's a play that one team is doing better than anybody else. It's just bad TV. We're tired of seeing it. We don't like seeing a foregone conclusion.
That's why they didn't vote on it today, ladies and gentlemen. It's so bad from a aesthetic TV. Guys, they're going to have this play next year with Hawkeye technology, and it will not matter still.
Yep.
Right. And so they have put themselves in the corner, not the players, not the coaches. The owners have put all of us in a corner to say, look, I don't know if it was a first down, but it's the NFC championship game, and use your eyeball, Jim. It's amazing that this is where they are, because they don't want to admit, but they also know that the ratings are not severely impacted enough just yet.
Right.
So let's table it to May when there's no one here, and let's table it to like next summer.
Yep. Nate, honestly, it did not really dawn on me until you sort of alluded to it earlier in the show that like 98% of this week could have been a Zoom. Like it's just for everybody.
Don't say, hey, don't.
Oh, sorry. I forgot you want to be there. I forgot you want to be there. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Look at this.
Look at those ceilings.
Look, what you talking about? No.
Nate, no, listen, hey, Tucker, you can cut this for everybody else. Nate, the thing I was kind of getting at is like most of the events you have to go to, keep looking at the ceiling. Most of these events are like, it's like the Combine in Indianapolis, or the draft in Green Bay, or training camp in St. Joseph, surrounded by cinder blocks. I forgot this is like one of the fun ones it's hard for me to tell what the fun ones are and which ones are like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Jerry Jones doesn't know how to use a Zoom. You're fine.
He doesn't know how to use a Zoom. Look at these ceilings. Look at these chandeliers. Look outside. Look at
Nate, you think that group of 31 principal owners in the Packers, you think that group really wants to promote working from home as opposed to getting your ass back in the office?
The amount of
That
times
meeting will never go. The owners' meetings will never go virtual.
Guys, we had to ask Roger Goodell today, hey man, you still like diversity? That was a legitimate question today.
It's a legitimate question. What did he say?
He said, of course.
Okay.
He said, of course, man. Like,
great. Now
like,
Roger Goodell's woke.
Roger Goodell was like, yes, we only have 32 teams. Yes, we know that there's a limited amount of opportunity. Our league is better with a diversity and diverse thought.
I think D-Mac's point is right. It's really about diversity of Cooper DeJean. Like, finding important ways to stay versatile as a league. I just saw this subhead of another rule change. K-balls will be able to be prepared prior to game days. Are we doing ketamine now?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, so, kicking balls.
Kicking balls.
Kicking balls.
So look, we are comfortable with field goal percentages going up.
Yeah.
Guys, chicks dig the long balls and chicks dig long field goals. Okay. That is the equation.
We gotta ask some chicks. I don't know if we have enough research on that. Let's get some chicks in the comments, please. Do you dig the long field goal?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Hey, if I could get this ball exactly the way I want it. Again, and it's not round, ladies and gentlemen. This is the silliest sport in America where the ball isn't round.
Never round.
And we're here. I mean, come on. This is the American dream, guys. The ball isn't round. It's a silly sport. And we want the kickers to feel even more comfortable because that 60-yarder looks so good to Samantha.
It would be foolish of me to think that the NFL ever had a particularly good pulse on what women want. So I'm going to just let that, I guess, hang. And then you know what? I bet there'll be some nice pink merch for you in October.
Thank you.
October, right? I think.
I mean, they've done that. Yes.
So.
Oh, look, Rachel can confirm the longer ball is better.
Martine says there's the longer the better. So we got 2 votes in. All right. 2
votes in. I mean,
never mind. I just wanted to ask. I wanted to do some independent research.
Rachel. Thank you. And research has been conducted. Now, do women want Justin Tucker to succeed? Yeah, that's a good question, Nate Dogg, because
not a good question. Bad question with an easy answer.
Can I say it? They hate him.
Makes sense.
That man. Now,
did anybody ask Roger Goodell about Justin?
Oh, he was
Tucker?
asked 4 times, 3 to 4 times.
Okay.
And
good.
Look, the investigation is still ongoing. Obviously, there's a legal process. Not to put one of my colleagues out here, but
don't.
No, I got to.
Hold on. Let me get out of here.
If there's ever a platform, ladies and gentlemen,
too many people
where you can step on your rivals, that's mostly why you have a podcast. There was someone who suggested, hey, is the league going to put in a process about, where... Hi, Jordan! Is the league going to...
Jordan's not your rival, by the way.
No, Jordan. God, I love Jordan Rodriguez. What up, girl?
I figured it was Jordan, and I just didn't want that to be the social clip of the show today.
But look, somebody got to the point of asking the commissioner of football, hey, man, should we figure out a way to, like, with these massage therapists, should it just be in the facility? And I said, bitch, it's not the massage therapist's fault.
Thank you. Sir, have you considered maybe if we just find these guys and we just kind of keep them under facility arrest? Maybe that'll be a way they stop harassing and assaulting women? Your thoughts?
You think the location is the issue?
Man, I don't know who asked this, but I've got 3 hot guesses.
The location of where this service is conducted. That's the issue. Okay. All right. Well, that was a question asked to, again, the commissioner of the NFL.
Man. All right, Nate. Well, I'm going to let you go into the private chat and let me know who asked that so I don't have to wonder about it the rest of the show. But I'm going to cut it down to, I got a hot guess. So you can just make sure, you can put that in whichever chat you want, I guess, really. But man, that is a good note by you, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah, just a little sprinkle. You ready for another sprinkle?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was gonna talk about touchbacks at some point, but yeah, no, go ahead.
So it's last night. Hors d'oeuvres everywhere. It's we were supposed to be outside because again, one of the most glamorous wedding receptions without a wedding. We were supposed to have a band, no band. There was lightning, there was rain. I guess we got to go inside. I guess I got to look at some more ceilings while I have some drinks. There was murmurs, there was hushes, and I was like, no. And then I was looking at somebody else. I was looking at one of my colleagues, and one of my colleagues said, "Oh my God, that's Serena Williams." And then I turned to my left. Guys, the amount of eye contact that I had with Serena Williams, who I've interviewed before, is life altering, life thrilling. And I'm sure it's out there, but Caitlin Clark was here, Serena Williams was here as part of, hey, should we let women do flag football? And they're like, you could have just called me, but also
look at the ceilings.
Yeah, women should do flag football. guys, I mean this with all due respect.
Nate is currently in the capital from the Hunger Games, is what everyone needs. That's another alternate path for you to kind of conceptualize what's happening here.
Yes, guys, you have to understand that this is the silliest sport in the world. And give credit to Serena Williams and Caitlin Clark. Came through, apparently gave an excellent presentation, gave their perspectives on, women in sports, the business of women in sports. Obviously, the NFL wants to be involved in that. We know about the Olympic Games in 2028 with flag football. Out of equality, you should have a men's and a women's event. If we're going to go through this, obviously there's discussion about the NFL either wanting to, I don't know if it's the WNBA, NBA model. I don't particularly love that. But hey, could they have some association with a professional flag football league? And of course, that would involve both men and women. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, like, you can do that. But thank you, Serena, for stepping out of your house and realizing you're in a room with this amount of art and this amount of sports reporters. And then once that was clear, she was not staying around. So
she was waiting to hang out with the reporters.
I think she walked into a certain room and said, we're the billionaires.
They're all there. I don't know if I have anything else that matters from this. That would have been a perfectly reasonable time to take a break. I'm gonna interject with the touchback thing. Now the touchback comes out to the 35. That's when they actually passed. They actually tacked on those extra yards. I think the only kind of thin line thing on that is that now kicking it out of bounds is only 5 yards worse than kicking it into the end zone.
Yep.
And so we're going to end up with some interesting special team stuff. We'll have another, training camp of asking Dave Tobe questions about what are you doing here? Do you try the corner now? Because if you kick it out of bounds, it's only 5 yards.
That's worse. Right.
There will be a little more gamesmanship within that. The main thing, though, is the NFL is saying, hey, we brought down concussions on kickoffs by 40% or whatever the number was they reported.
Yeah. Which is substantial. Yes.
Huge. And man, especially we don't have good concussion data from this time, I would imagine.
Correct.
But if you want to compare it to when you had wedges and wedge busters, concussions might be down 400% from that era.
Guys, Dante Hall used to have kickoff returns with offensive linemen as his wedge.
Yeah, man.
That was another era that's never coming back.
No, and shouldn't. I'm both very grateful that I got to see and love that era of football before I learned what it was doing to the brains and bodies of everyone involved. Yes. So the NFL's now said, hey, we found a way to bring down the injuries here, and we're making it a football play again. So I'd imagine we're gonna see more kickoffs this year, which I'm cool with.
D-Max said Dante Hall had better protection than CJ Stroud last year.
Let's take a break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win real money this March? Struggling to choose which team will pull off an upset? Well, forget all about the teams. All you need to focus on are player stats to rack up big cash prizes with DraftKings Pick 6. And when it comes to massive payouts, DraftKings dunks all over the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. You can track your picks for a shot to win huge cash prizes, and it's really as simple as that, folks. You can turn your basketball knowledge into cash today. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
How about that? Tucker back on the live read. I guess I guess live's the wrong word. Tucker back telling you about our friends over at DraftKings. Nate Taylor still in Florida. I'm still here, still wondering about some of the things that have happened this week. Nate, this is borderline scoopage territory. This is I hope you know what I'm about to set you up for.
No, let's do it. Let's do it, baby. This borderline scoopage territory here is something you got that I have not seen from anywhere else that begins to bring into focus one of the grand mysteries of the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs season. I know what my favorite Joshua Uche moment was. I don't know if everybody knows that. Mine was when they traded for him. And I can't think of another one. But we have talked about Joshua Uche quite a bit and how weird that entire situation was. Because look, it's a future late round draft pick. The Chiefs did not give up a lot for Joshua Uche, but they also virtually never played him. He never got a real shot to get into the defensive rotation. And I genuinely think, based off something you told me, Tucker, and Seth a couple days ago or yesterday, whenever it was, I think we actually kind of have the answer as to what happened with the failed Joshua Uche experiment. So, one of the better parts of this event, ladies and gentlemen, is that they ask you to fly in, and they ask you to again leave your house, get on a flight, come to a place where the water is crystal blue, to where the palm trees are just swaying gorgeously, to where you hear the waves crash upon the shore, where the sun is just glistening. There's also a waterfall in front of this place. Not a waterfall, a fountain. Excuse me. I know.
I would not have batted an eye at there being a man-made waterfall there.
Sorry that I misspoke. There is obviously we're the city of fountains. There is a fountain here that would absolutely be blowing everything out in the plaza. So, at this event, you get to talk to every NFL head coach. That's why they take the photo each year. Obviously, Andy Reid's always in the Hawaiian, Tommy Bahama shirt.
Someone asked why it was inside this year. Do you have the scoop on that? Do you know why that?
Also weather related.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Now it it's Florida. It rains off and on constantly. I waited 12 hours to watch live tennis because of a rain delay. 6 hours. Just 6 hours of just not watching a guy hit a ball or a lady hit a ball. So it rains even when the sun's out, obviously here. So I think a lot of these things were somewhat weather related. So all right, we get to ask. So Monday is AFC coaches, Tuesday's NFC coaches. You get all 32 coaches. All right, cool. When do we get to talk to these guys? Ladies and gentlemen, I have to inform you that we were requested to be here to pick up our credentials at 6:30 so that we could talk to the coaches at 7:45 a.m. on a Monday. And so when guys go from one team to another in free agency, hey, somebody from Philly wants to come down and ask Andy Reid, hey man, what happened with that whole Josh Uche thing? What? He was kind of a good player, but y'all didn't play him. What happened? And just for clarity, I sent the full text of what Andy Reid said to the text chain. And I will now read that quote in its entirety about the entire legacy and tenure of Josh Uche as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Quote, why didn't it work out with Josh Uche? After you got him, he didn't play a lot. Quote, yeah, he didn't. And I'm dead serious. That's exactly how Andy Reid said it. Yeah, he didn't. I continue. Quote, he probably wasn't a great fit for what we do. And we got him late, and we were trying to work him in. That's a tougher deal to do. I would have liked to see him through a training camp if we had time. But by the time we got him, we were rolling. I'm not sure the fit was exactly what our defense asked. He's a great kid. End quote.
Nate, I have a follow-up question, I guess, for you. Maybe you could ask Andy, Brett Veach. Maybe you could swing by Clark Hunt, see if there's anything there. If you could just ask somebody, then with that being said, with Andy Reid saying all of that, if you could maybe just ask, why did they trade for him then? Why did they trade for him? None of that was a surprise. He didn't show up here 30 pounds underweight. He didn't show up here and they were like, whoa, we thought we traded for you in March. You're telling me it's mid-season? Why didn't they trade for him, Nate? Why was he on the team?
You want the diplomatic answer or you want the real answer?
Let's
do both. Diplomatically, it was a short-term gamble that you knew you were making when you made it.
Mm-hmm.
You also knew who your defensive coordinator was, and you knew who your head coach was when you made that move.
Right.
Now, the other reason why you make that move is for some protection and insurance in case of an injury at the position. And I think some people forget this, but at the time you were getting ready to rely heavily on a guy coming off an ACL tear in Charles Omenihu once he was going to return to the lineup. Again, as an insurance policy, as a protection, hey.
For if Charles Omenihu and Malik Herring and DJ Thompson and Disney Dike-Uzama and Marlon Tuipulotu and Chris Oladokun and Carson Steele and Leo Chanel get hurt.
Correct, because he also factored into the special teams equation if something were to happen. Now, does that answer everybody's questions? Because here's the real answer.
I'm sorry for everyone I scared with my shouting.
Sometimes you make a move to test your philosophy. This player normally does not fit us, but he could give us something that technically is not on our roster.
By choice.
I know the scheme's complicated. I know you ask for more than just sacks at that position of importance. Sometimes you want to test these things to illuminate, and sometimes you test these things knowing if it blows up in our face and the man never plays a down of significance to us, it's a day 3 pick next year. Josh Uche did nothing wrong. He was incredibly frustrated. And so they tested their own philosophy, and it sort of solidifies why Steve Spagnuolo asked certain things of certain players at certain positions for his scheme. And as Andy Reid said, does not fit. But the front office's job is to improve the roster continuously. They tried. It was a failure. And here are the results.
It's a weird gamble / process test when you are pretty sure you're gonna lose that bet. Like, it, whatever the odds were and whatever the ceiling, whatever the gain was, like, it, with the benefit of any hindsight whatsoever, it feels pretty obvious that was borderline doomed from the start. And if Malik Herring was always closer to the snap, like that, you can test your process and also, I think, still call that a failure of evaluation, because you have to think, if you're giving up even a future day 3 draft pick, you got to think that, like, oh, this is the right guy to take this shot on. Like, we think that here's the pathway to get him involved. Sure. And does that mean he wasn't able to do what they wanted him to do in practice? Because we didn't see him get washed off the edge in a game, because we didn't really see him on the edge in a game. That opportunity to actually test that, I would argue, never really arrived, or at least the Chiefs never forced themselves into that. What it seems like they tested was, is Steve Spagnuolo going to play a guy who's not built like the guys he likes? And you could have just asked him that and saved yourself a few
And no.
But so cool. Just ask him that, and then also, you should not have drafted Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but that's a different thing. Like, you spent a first-round pick on a different type of guy there, which is very different, by the way, than a late pick on a B.J. Thompson or a mid-late pick on a Joshua Kando back before that.
Correct.
You can take these swings. The advantage, by the way, to just having the draft pick is, even if your late-round pick is a guy who never comes around, at least your head coach isn't saying, we would have loved to have him for a training camp.
Training camp. Like, that almost screams like, would he have switched roles? Would he have, like,
right? Great question.
You guys would have experimented more from, like, a positional standpoint. Like, again, we didn't have enough time. Clearly, I got to ask questions about the guys who are on the roster yesterday morning than the guys who aren't. But it was fascinating, and we're just here to provide a service to you, ladies and gentlemen. And if Josh Uche has 7 sacks next season, you know why he does it. Why he does it for the Philadelphia Eagles, and why he didn't do it for the Chiefs.
I mean, I think a big part of that's going to be, I think the Eagles will put him on the football field, which will be really beneficial to his chance of getting involved. But there you go. I thought that was genuinely fascinating. For as much time as we've spent wondering what happened in that situation, you've heard it from Andy Reid, you've heard it from Nate. And I apparently scared some people, broke some headphones, and alarmed some dogs. So
sorry, guys.
I do apologize for all of that. That one's purely on me. Also, Martine asked a little earlier in a super chat, which, by the way, your super chats on this channel go towards the KCSN Foundation, which we do all sorts of great stuff around, usually around the holidays, not exclusively, I guess, but that's when we do a lot of the big stuff there. So appreciate any super chats that come in that way. Martine's wondering if we'll do a meet and greet or something in the future. I think we definitely will. Training camp usually has a little bit of that energy, as Nate's up there 100 days, and sometimes Seth's up there for a little bit. We'll see if I'm up there for a little bit. But we'll try to keep everybody up to date, because I would like to do more stuff like that, honestly. because when we had a chance to do stuff like that over the years, it's been great. So I would love to, and we will certainly announce it here as it happens.
Hey, can you Josh read the comment that your mother
yeah, actually, so if you want to meet
there?
if you want to meet Nate right now, my mom said, just figured out Nate's at the Breakers in Palm Beach, a quote, historic Renaissance revival style luxury hotel at 1 South County Road in Palm Beach, Florida. So if you want to meet, several of us will plan something in St. Joe. If you want to go see Nate right now, it's 1 South County Road, Palm Beach, Florida. Go ahead and go on in and tell him Jerry Jones sent you.
Another sprinkle of a detail. I have seen a certain man of a certain age, of a certain wealth category, walk around in this luxurious place in nothing but a robe. In the same place that has Jerry Jones, that has Clark Hunt, that has Mr. Mara, as people say around these parts, as Jeffrey Lurie,
with his little piggies out.
Flip flops.
Okay, that's something. That's better. That's better
yes,
than the
yes.
image that the word I was most afraid of was barefoot.
Full on robe. I can do whatever I want.
Speaking of Nate, feeling like you could get away with anything, the Kansas City Chiefs could be on their way back to the White House. No, they did not actually win the 3-peat in the Supreme Court, but they were not able to attend after 2019. I believe Donald Trump was the president at the time. Then you have the COVID absence. So what I'm curious, is he president again?
As it may be,
the same guy.
It might be a surprise to you, but he got his old job back. And,
okay, well,
and again,
it's a tough market out there, so I hope he's getting to the bottom of that. And
again, guys, this was not on camera. This was a few minutes ago. Yes, I believe Roger Goodell and his wife did walk past me. We did make eye contact. He gave me a nice head nod. Roger Goodell knows what he's doing, and also
just now or earlier,
like 10 minutes earlier.
Oh, so like that, I saw you do a head nod. That was at Roger Goodell.
That was at Roger Goodell. So
what other show gives you this?
So that was
Roger Goodell heard me screaming about Joshua Uche in the bleed through of Nate's headphones.
And so again, Mr. Goodell, do you like diversity? But yeah, it's not every day.
It's nice that the old guy decided, hey, you know what? I meant to have you over for dinner, and we ran out of time, so we're gonna have you run it back in 2025. That's cool.
So think about it this way. Somewhere last week, Clark Hunt was just minding his business, doing his thing. Hey, what are we gonna do with the salary cap space? Hey, can we check back in on Trey Smith? Hey, okay, what are the agenda items that I need to be prepared for the NFL owners meeting? TV broadcasts, rule changes, what are we going to do with the international game series? Pretty legitimate stuff. I'm sorry. He said what? I'm sorry. He wants to, he's not talking about, we lost, right? He was in the building, right? He won us 2019.
I don't think he was there for the whole thing, for what it's worth. So,
but he won us to, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if someone invites you to the White House, you kind of gotta say yes. And so
I think Clark Hunt had to, because the White House is currently the only place with more billionaires per capita than the owners' meetings.
If it's not every day that Clark Hunt is surprised by something that is it's just not every day. So yes, we wrote the story quickly yesterday after having a little chat right before lunch, again at a location that is, I mean the people just come by and they smell good. I mean, everything smells good, everything looks good. It's just, come on, man. So anyway, they are going to do this. They have not set a date, but it will be after the Eagles visit the White House, which I believe is later this month, like April 28th, I believe. So who knows? It might be in May. It might be in June. They'll try to do it before training camp. And I had to put together a list of guys because, again, this is something that
the idea here is it would be that team, right?
Yes. And so here, you can make some phone calls. Obviously, there's other stuff I got to chase down here too. But they are, Clark Hunt told me years ago that if it were not for COVID, given that was the team's first championship in 50 years, obviously they would have gone to the White House. And so, here's a list of guys, and I just wanted you to think about not necessarily Trump, not necessarily that the fact that this is like kind of unprecedented, because of course the pandemic was rather unprecedented in a sense, and terrible and we don't need to get into all of it, but of course, like, we all went through that. It was awful,
universally bad. Yeah,
universally bad. Great way to categorize all of that.
Nate, I went through a lot of drafts.
Thank you.
I went with that one.
But last year the Chiefs had 32 players attend the White House for their ceremony, as obviously the reigning champions at that point, the back-to-back reigning champions. The understanding is, because of the missed opportunity, whether you think this is political or not, that's up to you. That Trump wants a similar ceremony, or wants the opportunity to have a similar ceremony, and obviously, how much will people remember from that team? Like, it's an interesting decision, and I think Clark understands that it's not really about him. It's not really about how this decision got made or how it became like a thing, because this was said in an interview, I believe, to Outkick on Air Force One, which, again, wild sentence that I just said.
Sentence. Yeah.
Just a wild sentence. But I went through the list, and I'm going to go through the list, and I wrote it in The Athletic. But think about this, when it, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, that the Chiefs are more than likely going to have another visit to the White House in honor of the 2019 season. These are some of the notable players who have only won one Super Bowl ring and are not on the team anymore or not in the league. That list includes Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Tyrann Mathieu, Kendall Fuller.
Actually, I don't need to hear anymore.
Anthony Hitchens, Reggie Ragland, Anthony Sherman, Alex Okafor, Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif.
That's crazy.
Guys, think about having a high school reunion at the mother bleeping White House.
Yeah.
That is what this could potentially be, and Clark Hunt is not going to stop it. He actually encourages it, and it'll be fascinating to see how many guys, from a logistical standpoint, that they can all agree to a certain time, a certain day, and have their moment in the sun that was taken away from them traditionally, not by anything political, but just through a horrible pandemic. So all those guys have only won one ring. They are no longer on the team. A lot of those guys, I'm sure, have never been to the White House or never been invited to the White House. So that's one of the first things that Clark thought about, and that's why the Chiefs have basically formally accepted the invitation. It's just now they got to get to the details as to what day and what time that will occur.
The one thing I want to add on this that's just like, I don't know, and I don't know. You can do with this what you will. If the Chiefs were talking about doing a lost ring ceremony for that team in 2025, I feel like Andy Reid would hear that suggestion for 5 seconds before he told you to go bleep yourself. Because we are talking about now going back in time 5 years.
Yes.
And honoring a team that has a lot of, there's a decent number of crossover. And look, I wonder even like, I don't know, now this is fan fiction, but like if all those guys you just mentioned want to go with Clark Hunt and I guess who was the OC on that team? Probably somebody who that is
a Eric Bieniemy invitation if he is willing to make another trip. Now he's been to the White House before,
right? So it's not the
2022. He's part of the 2022 season.
But if you want to send some group in that regard, or guys, and look, I'm not saying you can't go to the White House and go get back to training camp in time, right? There's a lot of free time there. But just
Correct.
the way that Andy Reid talks about moving on from last season. I mean, you have a thing in The Athletic about Travis Kelce waiting a week before deciding he was going to be back and playing this year, which now we obviously know, but the timeline of that was relatively new from your story. There is so much that comes out of Arrowhead that is about moving forward, not back. I find it interesting that this is a place where they seem willing to buck that trend. And again, I understand it. If you're Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, those guys, all those guys you just mentioned. The other thing, even another degree, trying to, I don't know. I fundamentally disagree with the idea that you can divorce sports and politics, because sports and politics and culture and the world are all things that involve human beings. Like, it's just all one miasma.
Hey, Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Do you like diversity?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would like to hear that one. I disagree with the idea that you can ever separate your peas and carrots. It's all mixed up in there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means, I think on some level, I think if you are doing your high school reunion of the guys who never got to go, they're not necessarily going to the White House to meet the president. They're going to the White House to go to the White House. I have to imagine Trump, Biden, whatever. I have to imagine the FaceTime with the president is the shortest part of your day. And your stage time or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's not as much as people think. Because it's more about the tour, it's more about the experience. It's really it's another chance for these guys to have a gathering and a bonding moment, and obviously a memorable one for themselves. And I know some people are like, will Travis go? Will Patrick go? Look, I don't know those. I don't know, right? This is all, really new.
Really easy for them to say we're focused on 2025 and we've celebrated that and we're really happy for Tyreek and Sammy and those guys.
But also, when was the last time Patrick Mahomes was with Sammy Watkins?
He could answer that for himself if he wanted to, though, right? Like, he could get Sammy. He could call Sammy over for a long weekend, have a sleepover.
Of course, but I think Clark wants as many guys that can go to go. And
I agree with that.
He acknowledged that. Look, there's only 6 guys from that team that are still on the roster, but still, if they can make it work, like, the team should be celebrated. They will always be remembered as champions, and so. The fact that Trump, I felt, talked out a left turn, but stood by it, and then the Chiefs essentially waiting for the actual formal invitation, and then being like, "Oh, this is real," is significant to them because they understand that they didn't get that opportunity 5 years ago.
Yep. So I think we made it through that segment relatively unscathed, and that feels like a win for everybody. Nate, are they going to extend Trey Smith?
Oh, child. Okay, now I need to do some housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. Just so we can.
Can we talk about Trump again? This seems like it's going to be bad.
Just so we can just some housekeeping stuff. Just so we can understand where we are as of right now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, April 1st. The Chiefs, according to Over the Cap, have a good roster. 73 players are on their roster. You can have up to 90, 91 if you have an international player. As of right now, Over the Cap says they have about $9.1 million in effective cap space you could still use as of right now. That number, of course, can go up if you get an extension for Trey Smith and you smooth out his cap hit in a significant manner for the 2025 season. Now, I've reported this before, nothing new. Hey, is it a 4-year deal? Is it a 5-year deal? Well, that's negotiable. Is it $23 million a year? Is it $24 million a year? That's negotiable. How are the contracts going to be? How's the contract going to be structured? All that is what is holding this up to some degree. Now, the Chiefs got through the first and second wave of free agency while being able to franchise tag him. And Clark Hunt said today that if it were not for the salary cap rising, they may have gone in a different direction, which is why I originally said before the league finalized what the cap numbers was that it was going to be unlikely or that the Chiefs weren't going to franchise tag Trey Smith because from a number standpoint, the math didn't give them a ton of wiggle room. Well, they've made it through the first part of free agency. We're now at the owners' meetings. Obviously, the draft is later on this month. It wouldn't surprise me if this is something that's done after the draft because, you are once this event ends, you kind of are all draft focused. Trey Smith has signed his franchise tag. So He has, until July if he wants to. July 15th, 3:00, for the whole deadline to come together. Clark was pretty confident that neither side was going to get to July. So, we'll do another checkpoint, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe that you would either do something right before the draft or right after the draft. And I haven't heard anything that's like anything's going to happen soon. But Trey Smith was with Kay Adams last week on Up and Adams, and said all the things that he said consistently. Want to be in Kansas City, want to get an extension done, happy to be back. Clark, I know, Josh, Clark is thrilled that Nick Bolton and Trey Smith are coming back.
I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Never had a hesitation in my mind.
Will he take a T. Higgins deal? That's not relevant just because it's such a different position, and the Bengals are
also in a different position.
Yes, because they franchise tagged him a second time, and that is a giant difference. So I don't think it's similar, but again, kind of in a wait and see. I don't think anything's.
What did Clark Hunt said he liked about Nick Bolton that made him want to give him all that money?
He's the quarterback of the defense.
Did he explain what that means?
Nope, but neither did Andy Reid yesterday. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's important. That is a full quote from Andy Reid. He is the quarterback of the defense. He's important. Stop asking me.
If anybody ever wonders what it's like when BJ talks to Nate and Seth about me and I'm not present, I have to imagine it's virtually that, where it's like, look, quarterback of the show, talks fast, communicates pretty good, keeps us on time. Okay, but like, why? What does he do that makes him the guy that needs to do this for you? Quarterback of the show. Can't imagine doing it without him. It's like, yeah, but could we get someone younger, cheaper? No. Too important. Why? Can't tell you.
He tackles people at a high rate.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why I have such a love-hate relationship.
He's a tackling machine who is pretty mild compared to some of his peers.
Here's God, I can't look at the comments. I gotta close them. We're too late in the show for me to be looking at comments. I have some breaking news from the
is this
No, I can't.
Come on now.
No, I have breaking news from the Trey Smith of the show. It's April Fool's Day, but I don't believe that Seth knows that. He also never acknowledged my tweet saying that he was quitting this show. So I don't really think Seth's been on Twitter. But Seth has said on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, Kiko is not pregnant. False pregnancy is the report from Seth Kaiser. And if the moment he is back in his home, does not have that dog tucked up under his arm like a football on the way to a vet to get the snips, I do not know what he's doing with his life. It's Seth. If you listen to this, you won't. It's time. It was time a month ago, Seth. Don't let them do this to you again.
And it's only going to get warmer. And look, temptation's out there. We've all seen it. I'm in a temptation factory right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at the ceilings.
Look at the ceiling. I just kept doing that last night. I was like, yeah, I'll take another gin and tonic.
Just watching the ceiling with a little G&T, just leaning back.
Yeah, just
look
leaning
at the
back.
ceiling tiles.
Wow.
Accidentally waterboarding yourself because you've got a terrible angle to drink and look up.
So this is the closest I'll get to White Lotus, huh? To being on the White Lotus right here. Yeah,
this is the one.
Just not not in a foreign country. I hope.
I'm done. I've done enough show. This is all yours from here. You got it?
I hope Seth is not fooling us, and I hope for Kiko's sake that.
What if Jazz told him that Kiko wasn't pregnant as an April Fool's joke on set?
And he shared it with the world.
Can you imagine? That'd be the funniest thing anyone's ever done. Okay.
Last bit of sprinkle, kids. Okay. Now I have to bid you adieu from the Breakers before I have to write yet another story. Some pretty important, pretty interesting Chiefs news. So be on the lookout for that on a little website called theathletic.com. All right. So, all right, give me Give me a minute. All right. So obviously, Serena Williams is here. Guy Fieri's here. Roger
Oh, hell
Goodell's here. Obviously, it's a nice little get together. At one point, there was an NFL coach not named Andy Reid, so you can remove him from the equation because Andy Reid's very smart about these things. I go take a couple photos, chitty chat. When my wife says it's time to go, we bounce. Okay. And when Tammy was done, Tammy said, "Hey, let's get some desserts. Bring them up to the room. We ain't got to say goodbye to no more to anybody." And so it's interesting to see the dynamics between Andy Reid and Tammy Reid, where Tammy's just like, "It's time." And Andy's like, "This is a great party." It's a great party. So much extravagance, so much open bar action, open bar kids. I had sushi, noodles, steak, candy, ice cream, and as many gin and tonics as I could handle with water. Then you get to the kids' room, and you didn't know this was the kids' room because, again, look at the ceiling. But also, all right, what's going on? Is that an announcer right here? What is he announcing for these kids of billionaires?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What?
Okay, because there's a Panini's little like, hey, if you take this photo in front of all these lights, we can make you look like a star, and we'll print the baseball card for you right here, right here. But also, player safety, which means we have a large pool table, essentially, of crabs in miniature plastic NFL helmets. And I will announce to children of billionaires when that crab gets to the end zone. And then I'll pull the crab back like we're at the craps table so that he can go up and down the field again.
So if you've been wondering, what do the children of billionaires do at the NFL owners meetings? The answer is gamble on crab races.
And the Falcons have scored again.
I couldn't tell it